Okay, so we're starting 8th grade, DGP, week 1. Now we have Monday. When we look at our help, this is the sentence, by the way. He was a very silent man by custom. In case you don't know what that means. When you say by custom, that means like customarily or normally. Okay, that's what that sentence means. Now, you have these help pages on Google Classroom. If you want to print them out for yourself, that's fine. That's your business. But you have them online. These are literally all the answers. If you were with me last year, you know that. We're going to go through, and on Monday, we have to label everything under Monday. So the first thing we're looking for is nouns. We know they're people, places, things, or ideas. If it's common, we're going to label it with lowercase n. If it's proper, we're going to label it with a capital N. Now, normally you should do this ahead of time, but if this first week you're doing it with me, I don't have a problem with that. So the first thing I'm going to look for is nouns. He was a very silent man by custom. He is obviously a noun, but I know it's also a pronoun, so I'm just going to wait and do it when it's pronouns. It's very silent. Man is obviously a noun. I should not capitalize man, so I'm going to call that a lowercase n. By custom, that's like a custom, so that is noun, lowercase, because it should not be capitalized. I don't see any other nouns. So now I go back to my help page, which I was looking at while I did it to remind myself. Now I'm looking for pronouns. If you're not sure of what pronouns are, here's all the list. So I already know I had he. I find it on my list. I've got it here, and I don't see it anywhere else. So it's got to be a nominative pronoun, which means it takes the place of a name. So then I just have to figure out, do you call it, first person means that you call yourself that, second person means you call the person you're talking to, and third person means somebody else, somebody somewhere else. So he is not myself, it's not the person I'm talking to, it's somebody else. So I know it's third person, and since it was a nominative pronoun, I know it's nom. You could label it third nom pro, but when I label a nominative, I know that means pronoun. If you want to call it a pro too, that's your call. This is good enough for the purpose of my class. And now, was a very silent man by custom. By, I might go, maybe is that a pronoun? It's real short. So I'd look at my list. It's not on here anywhere. It's not a pronoun. So I'm through with pronouns. Now I look for adjectives. Modifies nouns and pronouns. So it's going to answer the questions about those kind of words, which I've already labeled. And it's going to answer which one, how many, or what kind. What kind of he? I don't know. Which one of he? I don't know. How many he's? Doesn't say. What kind of man? Silent kind, right? So that's an adjective. How many men? Which one of men? No, it doesn't tell me. By what kind of custom? How many customs? Which one of custom? Doesn't tell me. The only other thing that I don't have is articles. A, an, and the. Remember, those are always articles. That's an article. It is an adjective, but it's so common that we call them articles. So then I'm done with my adjectives. Now here again, we go to adverbs next. But since they can describe verbs, I like to skip ahead and find the verb next. I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to skip forward, and I know that verbs either show an action or state of being. Action verbs show action, linking verbs link two words together. Helping verbs and linking verbs are pretty much the same thing, only these go with another verb, but they're the same words. Those is, be, am, are, they're the verbs that don't sound like verbs. Look, is this one of them? Am, is, are, was, and were, be, being, been, was. That is a linking verb. The tense, there are no other words here beside it. Very is not a verb. By is not a verb. So since I know it's by itself, the more difficult verb tenses always have helping verbs. So I know it's either present, past, or future. Was is not tomorrow and it's not today. So that is linking verb, past tense. Okay. So now that I've found my verb, I'm going to go back to adverbs, because they tell how, when, where, or to what extent about adjectives, verbs, and other adverbs. So verb, does anything tell me how he was, where he was, to what extent he was, when he was? No. Here's an article. How silent? Very silent, or you could also think of that as to what extent. But since it's answering the adverb questions, it's an adverb. Now you might have labeled this adjective on your first try. They can be confused, but not if you use your questions correctly. Okay. And that's it. I don't have any other adjectives, verbs, or other adverbs. So I go back to my help pages, and preposition is next. Remember, I've told you about the frog and a log. A preposition tells you how something can be related to a log, how a frog could be related to a log. So you say like a frog could be over a log, above a log, beside a log, before a log. And you also have this whole list of them right here. If you'd like, I can teach you a song to remember them. These are not all of them, but these are by far the most common. So to find a preposition, I always say preposition plus what, and the answer should be the noun or the object of the preposition. By is on my list. It's right there. So it can be a preposition. By what? Custom. So that is a preposition. Always check to make sure there's a noun that goes with it. Otherwise, it's not a preposition. And now I'm finished with Monday.